Hi, I'm Erik the Travel Guy. Today, we're shining the destination spotlight on Currituck, Outer Banks. Oh yeah, it is that beautiful.
Beyond Your Backyard is being brought to you in part by the following. With Bill, there's only one.
My name is Erik Hastings. Yeah, that's me. And for as long as I can remember, I've always loved to travel, and I still do today. But you know what I've learned? There's so much more that brings us together than divides us. Which is why I've made it my mission to do the very same things you can do, but to take you beyond the experiences, to uncover the soul of every place we visit. Let me introduce you to the people, the places, and the secrets that remind us how exciting it is to share with one another, to understand one another, and to realize just how connected we really are. I am Erik the Travel Guy, and this is Beyond Your Backyard.
Thank you for watching and welcome. We're going to play a little word association today. For instance, if I say Outer Banks, what comes to your mind? Perhaps popular vacation destinations like Nag's Head or Hatteras or Kitty Hawk. You know, a lot has changed over the last 20 years here, and as you can imagine, change never comes easy. Some agree with the development, others, not so much. Well, be that as it may, I decided today to turn left and go north on Highway 12 to a virtually unspoiled part of this island. And I assure you, we're going to show you some pretty remarkable things. For instance, on today's episode, we're going to show you wild horses roaming free on the beach and in the dunes. We're going to learn more about why so many have vacationed here over the years. And I've invited a chef over to the house to create a delicious and frankly unbelievably amazing, authentic Outer Banks lunch. You're gonna love it. Let's get started.
Once again, our trusty map is here to help. Now we're on the eastern seaboard. The Outer Banks is a 200-mile-long chain of barrier islands along the coast of North Carolina and into southeastern Virginia. Here's Norfolk and Virginia Beach, and Raleigh-Durham is over here just for good measure. While visitors make their way in every season, peak season in the Outer Banks is summer, but I decided to make a visit in shoulder season in the fall.
I've never really thought it was fair to characterize what's on or off the beaten path. I mean, travel is personal, so I say make a list of things that are important to you, then seek out vacations that meet or exceed your expectations.
I suggest you have a car available to explore while you're here. Families, groups of friends, and happy couples have been vacationing in the Outer Banks for hundreds of years. It's easy to understand the attraction of the beach and the natural beauty, but I wanted to learn the history of this vacation locale, so I made a stop at the Outer Banks Center for Wildlife Education, which is a really long name for a cool place and a very special educator.
All right, what are we doing here?
Today, we're going to crab. Now,
No, come on. We're going to actually catch a crab?
we call it crabbing, not necessarily catch it.
Got it.
So,
It's just called crabbing.
Just call it crabbing.
Got it.
But you're going to need certain things. Now, you
What about this thing? Am I
are
gonna need
holding
this?
an instrument right now that
Okay.
is required because you can't pick them up with your bare hands.
Okay, that hurts?
You will be hurt.
Got it.
The crab will say, he wasn't good to eat, but by golly, he won't grab me again. And they are fierce little things, and
Got
they
it.
can draw blood. So basically, you need a line.
What, you got like a chicken McNugget on the end of that
That's
thing?
right. Actually, this is a chicken neck. Now listen, you can just go grab any kind of piece of chicken, a piece of cotton line. Here is what you're going to do.
Sure.
You step up, not too close. I don't want you to drop off, and I want you to do that. Step right up for me. Ready? And on three.
Uh-huh. All
Are you
right,
ready?
I'm
And on
ready.
the other end, I want you. Are you ready? Drop it.
Oh.
You're crabbing.
Oh my gosh, I'm already having more fun.
So now it's time to be patient, and you want to feel that string because you're going to feel a little jerk on your line, and then you very slowly, so start drawing it up.
Because the crab doesn't know it's going up, essentially.
Not yet. He's not too familiar with an elevator, so you want to make sure that you bring him up slowly. Again, crabbing is a little bit about patience, but guess what? While you're out here being patient, look what you get to see.
We're not on our phones.
Nope.
We're not watching television.
Nope.
We're not playing video games. We're just visiting about catching crabs.
And take a breath. Isn't it fantastic?
Yeah, you know, it is nice out
Yes.
here.
Now, you can always come over to the Wildlife Center. We'll tell you how many you can catch legally, which is 50 per person
A day?
a day.
You can catch 50 crabs, and that's true?
The legal limit. And then you also always need to make sure your crab is legal size. And here's your card.
Okay.
5 inches. And we measure. So you'll know it's a male, a female, or a mature female. And she's one especially. That's that she crab, like she crab soup. We also encourage that being put back because there's where your babies for next year are going to come. And then felt that little tug.
Yeah.
And you start slowly, hand over hand.
I haven't felt any tugging going.
Well, let's show them how it's done.
Okay.
Okay, slowly, hand over hand. I want you to bring it up. And we do it slowly, and we watch, and when we start seeing the top of the bait, if there's a crab,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be down here real slow.
I think I caught it.
Hey!
I did.
Well, at least you weren't snookered. We have a catch of the day. But there's your premise, and then
That's it.
we throw it back.
How long do they stay out?
We stay out here generally at least 30 minutes, sometimes 45, and
Yeah.
if we're catching,
We'll stay as long.
we'll stay as long as we can before we have to go in and do another class. Once you're done, you know how to crab.
Is it interesting to you to see the adults experience the center through the children's eyes?
Absolutely. Because what could be better than taking a child outside, crabbing, fishing, a squirrel, a rabbit, which we have out back, and they've seen them for the first time.
Yeah. This county is a pretty unique county
Yes.
in the state of North Carolina, certainly from a natural perspective,
Absolutely.
among other things.
Yes.
Why?
Ocean to the east, sound to the west. You're completely surrounded by water. It's still got an element of undiscovered places, and that's hard to find anymore. We have maritime woods to our north, and of course the marshes out here to the south of us, and it still has that sense of a place that you're the first person to ever go there.
When you come across the bridge and you turn left and you just keep going, and you find a lot of things just sort of melt away, it almost feels a little bit like you're traveling a little bit back in time.
We were famous long before tourism. Tourism was duck hunting back then,
Got it.
and bass fishing. Roads in Currituck had names like Purgatory. They were so bad. And then you got to the dock, because there you'd made it that far.
Right.
Now you got to the dock, you got in a boat, and it wasn't a 135 Honda on the back. It was a gas boat. You chip, 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 and you came across the sound. And so you could come here and probably not see people at all, except for where you were, and you had people to help take care of you, the hunt clubs. And even if you lived over here, it wasn't developed. You learned how to take care of yourself, and that held on for the longest time. Whereas the South Beach became more of a resort area, this still was left as it was, and we have the most fantastic maritime woods here as well.
What do you love the most about your gig?
This, sharing it with other people, coming in and explaining this to them. We like to hope we give you a sense of stewardship, so that you want to pick up trash if you see it, or you see someone walking on a dune where you shouldn't, and you turn around and you tell them, you really shouldn't do that, would you please stop, or let me pick that trash up. Because I've learned something here that now I appreciate. It's part of my backyard too. And if we can share that with people, if we can say, take this home with you, this backyard feeling that this is yours, we've done our job.
Why do I get the impression that there are wild animals watching this interview? I mean, there's something going on.
Aren't they great?
I think they're awesome.
Aren't they great?
Thank you for this. It was
My
excellent
pleasure.
to meet you.
Sharon and I simply didn't have enough time to discuss the pirate history of the Outer Banks, which has everything to do with the terrain. But we discussed more wildlife found here, birds in particular, and I was reminded of a very unique bird that took flight just down the road.
On a chilly December day back in 1903, December 17th to be precise, two brothers from Dayton, Ohio wanted to learn whether or not their 1903 flyer would take flight. And you know what? it did.
This is simply one of those places I knew I had to visit. And by browsing the gallery, I was reminded that while humans have been on this planet for quite some time, the invention of flight was, frankly, not that long ago.
It's worth noting that this reproduction of the Wright Flyer could actually take flight. Although it hasn't, the engine has been running. But if you're wondering where the original is, well, that would be at the Smithsonian on the National Mall in Washington, D.C.
Back on the Outer Banks, I decided I just had to get in the spirit of flight and get a bird's eye view of the location. So I took a short flight in an open cockpit. You too can take to the skies on your vacation here, and one of the places you'll discover is the Currituck Beech Lighthouse. That's where I caught up with Megan Agresto.
What was the purpose of a lighthouse?
It's an aid to navigation. You want to go sailing at night, which you want to do if you're a new country and you have commerce. You want to keep it moving. You need a lighthouse to keep your mariners and your stuff safe.
And these are pretty treacherous waters out here.
People might think, oh, you're going to hit rocks. No, that's our problem. We have no rocks. We're all sand. Sand moves. It moves with wind. It moves with water. It forms shoals. You hit shoals. You don't swim.
So somebody who went sailing here and brought something close by or into port here in whatever year we're talking about, 3 months later, the thing could be different completely?
Yes, only in our case at the Currituck Beech Lighthouse, we have no deep water. And that's the point, actually, of this lighthouse is not, we are not a welcome to North Carolina lighthouse. We're a, oh heck, be careful, back up. We know you wanted to hug the coast to stay out of the Gulf Stream.
Right.
But we need you to be careful. And by the way, Cape Hatteras is right around the corner.
It's right over there.
Yeah.
We're talking 1875 here. Why didn't they ever paint it?
Oh, because we're the last brick and mortar lighthouse to be built on the coast of North Carolina. So we had already taken care of Cape Hatteras that looked like this, and Body Island that looked like this, and Cape Lookout that looked like this. And I sometimes joke they just maybe didn't want to use black and white polka dots. I don't know. So, you know, we lucked out. A lot of people don't know those other lighthouses are brick because they just didn't think about it with the paint job.
All right, so visitors come. What can they do when they're here today?
We're a self-guided tour. We do have a brochure. We do have human docents who want to talk to everyone, but people also just want to take the time, and we've got displays inside the tower. They can read off an artifacts room inside, and they can also just climb and hang out. We have no time constraints for how long you can stay inside.
Oh, nice.
Clearly, the locals are proud of their little corner of the world, which is yet another reason Currituck and the Outer Banks are popular with summer visitors. The ocean water is warm. The towns are bursting at the seams with locally owned and delicious restaurants, cafes, bars, and even world-famous donuts. You'll also find an abundance of large multi-bedroom houses to rent while you're here, perfect for families with lots of children, friends, and luggage. This is why I invited a local chef over to my house to prepare an authentic seafood lunch.
What are we going to make today?
We're making a crab and asparagus tip risotto
Oh, come on.
with Parmesan.
Oh.
And then we're going to make a crab cake over succotash.
Where are we going to start here today? What do we got?
We're doing risotto.
Risotto first.
It's made with arborio rice
Yep.
and shallots, wine, and stock.
Got
You can
it.
use chicken stock, vegetable stock, crab stock. We've got a little crab and chicken stock in this.
Got it.
And we keep adding our stock until it comes together. All the starch that's in the little short-grained arborio rice is the reason why it gets creamy. You're going to need about 9 cups of stock for 2 cups of rice. Once it starts getting tender, then we'll add the crab, the Parmesan, and the asparagus tips.
Got it.
And this is lump crab meat.
Oh my gosh. I'm actually salivating. I could. Oh.
And we put in an egg, mayonnaise, some breadcrumbs, a little bit of green onion, some roasted red bell pepper,
Ooh, yum.
some salt and pepper, and some lemon juice. You don't want to mix it up together so much that it's going to break every piece of crab meat up. Why buy lump crab meat if it's going to be shredded?
Shredded, right.
And then we take a disher or ice cream scoop, and this is panko. Okay, we're gonna throw in the asparagus. I just cut the tips.
Look at those.
We're gonna add a little bit more stock and let that cook down a little bit, and then we'll throw in the crab meat.
This is claw meat.
It's less expensive, but it's very flavorful.
That's crazy. We could do this at the house.
Yeah, it's a feel. Now you want the hot oil in the pan.
Okay.
And you lay these, and then we're going to turn them when they get brown in just about
2 minutes.
a minute
Yeah.
or so. Let's put some Parmesan in there.
Do you do this? Do you go to people's homes and do this?
This is what we do.
You're kidding me.
No, this is what we do.
Man, look at this. Oh, I love the smell. Smells perfect. Oh, no. I might cry on my own show. I don't even feel bad about it. It's amazing.
As long as everything is diced up, sliced up, peeled, shelled, and you have everything in portions, you can just dump it all in and be done.
Got it.
Now, with the succotash,
We're on
I've
to
already-
succotash.
This is raw corn off the cob, frozen peas. Tomatoes, a little spring onion, a little bit more salt, pepper, a little more wine. And all we want to do really is get this hot, because the potatoes are already cooked.
We're just bringing everything together here.
Yeah. And this is going to make a pretty plate. Plus, it'll give you a vegetable and a starch to go with your
All at the same time.
crab cakes, right. Now, this is an aioli. And all I did was put a little bit of pepper juice, some mayonnaise, which is Duke's, it's Southern, it's very good, and some lemon juice. And it's gonna go on top of
It's gonna go
the
on top.
crab. Let's take this to the plate and we'll put a nice little pile in the middle and then a little bit of the aioli.
Look at this. Perfect bite. What do you got?
Well, I like a little bit of all of it.
Yeah, I do too. Oh my. Come on. I can taste the pepper coming through. I can taste that crab comes through nicely.
Some people will go and buy seafood at their grocery store.
Sure.
They need to smell it. If it smells like ammonia, they need to leave it there. You
Very
want it to
specific.
smell like the ocean, fresh, whether it be oyster, scallops, shrimp, anything. It needs to smell like that ocean out there. Buying
town.
frozen seafood in a landlocked area would be better than trying to buy fresh, because fresh means that they took it out of the freezer, thawed it out,
Right.
and put it in there,
Little case.
unless it's really expensive and they flew it in.
And it's not turning out like this. This is unbelievable. Thank you for this, Dawn.
Thank you.
I'm just gonna, let's just go over
Oh,
here
please.
and eat this. Well,
And here's another crab cake.
oh, of course, there's another crab cake.
After lunch, or any meal for that matter, a stroll along the beach is an excellent way to stay active during your stay. And these beaches are world famous for not just the waters, but wild horses.
How do you describe these wild horses?
They're just magnificent,
Yeah.
and they've been here for centuries. They used to roam all up and down the Outer Banks, but because of development, they've been pushed as far north now as they possibly can go. So they're safest here. We do have a problem with people feeding the horses in the summer, tourists who don't know any better. And it's really very, very bad for the horses. They get, a lot of them, they can get sick. Some of them have even died from eating things like apples and carrots. So that's a problem.
50 feet is pretty much is that the county ordinance away from these horses?
It is, yes, yeah. And that's out of respect for the horse, but just as importantly, for the person's protection too, because they are wild.
How many of these horses are in Currituck County, like this part of the Outer Banks?
Well, there's about 100 here, and then if you go further south to Shackleford Banks, which is off the coast of Beaufort, North Carolina, there's another strong strain of Spanish Mustang there.
Got it.
And they have about 100 from what I understand as well.
But these are, in fact, wild horses and not feral horses, right?
Absolutely.
Which
And
is, there's a difference there.
there's a big difference, and the Corolla Wild Horse Fund actually had Dr. Gus Cuthrin come to our beach to do DNA analysis and testing on our horses, because there was some concern that perhaps they were feral. And he determined that not only are they the descendants of the Spanish Mustangs, but it's the strongest strain of Spanish Mustang left on the entire East Coast.
Really?
Yes. And one of the distinguishing factors of our horses is they have one less vertebrae.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, and which is a trait of the old Spanish horse.
No kidding.
Yeah, yeah. So they only stand about 14 hands, which With, if you're looking at a domesticated horse, they would consider that a pony. But ours are considered horses because of that characteristic of the one-less vertebrae.
I think it's worth noting here, too, that there aren't that many places in the United States where you can actually still see wild horses. Because when I think wild horses, obviously I think of Arizona and Nevada, especially Nevada and Wyoming and Montana. But out here, there are very few places, especially to see horses on the beach. Is that right?
That's correct. There's some horses up further north, Chincoteague Island and Assateague Island in Virginia and Maryland. But our herd here is strong strain Spanish Mustang, roaming wild and free.
Pretty much any time of the year, you could be walking down the beach and see one of these magnificent creatures walking right along with you. But if you want to increase your chances of seeing these wild horses, you got to get back here in the dunes, because this, of course, is their food supply. So it makes perfect sense.
From here, where we are situated, we're only about 6 miles from the Virginia state line.
No kidding. That's how far north we are?
We are.
We drove to where the road ends.
Correct.
And that's it.
That's right.
You have to be in a 4x4 vehicle to be where we are today, right?
That's right. You need a 4x4, but you also need to lower your tire pressure. And we are still on Highway 12. It's just not paved. There is also absolutely no business up here at all. There's no grocery stores, no 7-Elevens, nothing. It keeps that nice, unique feel and charm. The focus of our company, of course, is the horses and educating people about the horses, but also about the beautiful natural history up here and the environment. There's so many marvelous things to see and learn about the Currituck Outer Banks, and in particular this 11-mile stretch. The best place to learn about that is to take one of the tours and come up and have a trained guide tell you all about it and show you firsthand.
Firsthand.
Yeah.
Perfect. Edna, thank you for this.
Okay.
Before we go, let's take just a second to consider the history here. For instance, the Spanish that brought those wild horses, the descendants of which you can still see roaming free on the beach. Or how about the captains that navigated the treacherous waters of the Atlantic just off the coast here? And of course, the very place where we liberated ourselves from the surface of the planet and took flight. All of it took place here on the Outer Banks. I'm Erik the Travel Guy. Thank you for exploring beyond your backyard. If you're wondering where the original is, well, that would be at the Smithsonian. Ooh, that's nice. Well, time to work. Okay, here we go. 1, 2. Have you ever been in a fist fight? No, I haven't. How about that? Come on. Let's make those words work for us today, huh? Words. We're not doing a hieroglyphic episode. You got to actually say the words. Here we go. Nailed it. I'm going to do a swan dive right into this pool.
This is the exciting part.
Now, I was told there would be some light beer served out here. Is that true?
This is a children's
Oh, it's a children's class. Okay, that's fine. Just asking.
Dude, come on, take my hand.
I will.
See you later.
Okay. How corny is this?
I know, they'll love it. They'll be like, really? The guy turned around?
I'm so excited about my exploration, I'm jumping off this table.
For more information on this episode, visit erikthetravelguy.com. And while you're there, you'll discover other fascinating destinations just beyond your backyard and links to follow me on social media. That's erikthetravelguy.com.
Beyond Your Backyard is being brought to you in part by the following. With Bill, there's only one.
Hi, Hi, I'm Erik the Travel Guy. You know, I've been exploring the world professionally for more than a decade, and you know what I've learned? Is that fantastic experiences await you in every corner of the globe, but you don't always have to travel that far to uncover them. So join me each week as we go on and off the beaten path, learn something new, and sample delicious culinary. We're exploring beyond your backyard.